Now, I want to go back to this question before we get back into other things here. This is something I have been wondering about for the longest time. I misunderstood a question a caller was going to ask. He's asked about player discipline, and he wanted to know about, why would the Seahawks jump offside in the fourth quarter when all they would have had to do, they tried to create a safety. And it was after the interception, and Brady was taking the snap in the end zone. And so they jumped to try to get a safety and get the ball back. In that case, I think Brady's cadence drew him off. They're so eager. And Michael Bennett, their best player on defense in Seattle, had just been anticipating snap all day and had been giving Brady all kinds of trouble. So I think that was the kind of discipline I'm talking. Why? Look at Marshawn Lynch crotch grabbing. That's one thing. This other guy, Doug Baldwin, scores a touchdown and pretends to drop his pants, take a dump on the football. In baseball, you have players that do not run out ground balls to first base. You got players routinely will hit a long fly ball and stand there at the plate, watch it. Posing, and it won't go out, it'll hit the wall, and instead of ending up at third base for a triple, they're barely making it back to first base with what should have been an automatic double. But in football, any of these other unsportsmanlike or taunting penalties that players get, or unsportsmanlike they get for improper celebrating in the end zone, the rule is the rule. Where are coaches on this? When I was a kid and didn't run a ground ball out to first base, I got benched. I was coached. I was told, you're going to hustle. I remember when I played high school football, and I didn't get away with this for very long. The end of every practice was sprints. After 2 hours of just physical torture, here came the sprints. Sometimes they were 70 yards, sometimes 40, sometimes 65 across the field and back. And position groups ran with each other. I was an offensive tackle, so I ran with the tackles and the guards, the offensive linemen. And I'd always take a look. As we're doing the sprints, I'd make sure I finished in the middle of the pack. And eventually a coach would say, first three tackles, take it in. Well, I was always among the first three because I had been pacing myself. So one day coach came up and said, Mr. Limbaugh, I noticed during sprints you're always here in the middle of the pack until it's time to go in, and then you're just beating everybody. What are you doing? I said, I'm pacing myself, coach. He said, Mr. Limbaugh, in football and in life, we don't pace ourselves. We go all out all the time. So you're running 10 extra sprints for the next 5 practices, no matter where you finish. If they didn't run a ground ball to first base, they got yelled at, chided. I mean, this is not how we play the game. Get a ground ball, you never know. You're going to throw it away. You dig, and you get there as fast as you can. Don't sit there and preen and think that you're automatically thrown out. Get to the professional level, and I wouldn't think these guys that need to be coached. I don't understand professional football players who behave in immature. Well, I do understand. That's the point. But why it's not coached? Why it's put up with by the coaches? Now, I understand. Well, the players are getting all the money, and if the coach says, "Hey, Marshawn, stop the crotch grab," Marshawn will say, "Screw you, buddy. If one of the two of us is gone, who do you think it's going to be? It's going to be you." I'm just using him because he's a recent example. There's all kinds of people players that the coaches seem to exhibit ridiculous 15-yard penalties that are killer penalties against a team, and a player will get one for stupidest post-play behavior or whatever. And I just, do the coaches not take these guys aside after game and said, one more time like that and you're not starting? It makes very little sense to me. So that's what I thought I meant by player discipline and the lack of it, because there clearly is lack of play discipline.